I'm Derion Barnes, and this is the Community Leaders Podcast.
What's up? It's your boy Los LOS, and you're watching the Community Leaders Podcast. And right across from me, I have Derion Barnes. What's up, Derion?
Hey, what's up, Los? How you doing, man? This is Derion Barnes here.
Hey, man, I just want to know a little bit more about you right now.
Okay.
Well, so what do you do?
So I am, hold on, let me get my phone so I don't miss a point. Like you said, Derion Barnes, I represent the Garfield Park Advisory Council, and I'm all about health and wellness of my community, and I help develop programming for that.
Okay, so what does that entail, the first part of it?
The first part is developing the health and wellness. So basically, on the west side of Chicago, we have a life expectancy gap that's about 20 years different than our counterparts in the West Loop, and then also to the west of us in Oak Park. So when I hear things like that, I'm like, man, what are they doing that's so different that's causing them to live 20 years longer than us? So that's really what led my focus into health and wellness at the Park District, a Park District in my community.
So you got one side living longer than the other side?
Yeah, it's crazy. And what's crazy is the west side is dead in the center of it. So if you go to the left, they're living 20 years longer, and if you go to the right, they're living 20 years longer, and they're living about the same. So it's clearly a scope on the west side, like what's going on here. And there's a couple of things that's going on here, let me tell you.
Yeah, let me know, pinpoint it. What is going on?
A couple of the issues could be food deserts, food insecurity. There are less than 5 grocery stores on the west side. If you have to go to a grocery store, you are leaving the community for that. If you are a person without a car, then you know that just becomes that much harder for you to access those types of things.
So public transportation, is it around there?
Public transportation is a thing, but if you don't have a car and you're carrying groceries, you have to get groceries for a household on public transportation, that can be a bit challenging.
Oh, wow. So what is your job there exactly? What do you do exactly how to fix that issue?
So that's just one of the many issues that we try to tackle. But at the Park District, it's a great hub for the community because so many people come in and look at it as a resource. So when they come in with those issues, we can kind of address it one by one, and we can sit on the council and try to figure out, like, prioritize what we should be doing at these certain times. And we can really get a lot of community feedback with that just because so many people utilize the park.
Awesome. So your second half of what you do, what was that?
Developing the programming for the park.
Okay, what does that look like?
Going back off community engagement and just feedback, what we really try to listen to what the community needs. And right now, the health and wellness push, a couple of years ago, Bank of America decided that they were going to have a marathon that would run through our parks, but no one pretty much received any type of notice of it. So, you couldn't park on the streets. Nobody from the community was involved in like any of the volunteering process. So it kind of just like overlooked us. So as a member of the council, that's one of the first things we address. So now, before Bank of America comes in and they have the marathons, they're talking to the community. They're letting us know where we'll be able to park. And then they're also letting us know ways that we can get involved. And they're letting us know ways that they can get involved in things that we're doing as well. So it's becoming more of a collaboration other than not having a seat at the table to begin with.
So you were part of that change?
I like to think so, yes.
So you have a seat on that board? Is it called the board?
Board, council, yeah.
Okay.
Council board, yeah.
How long you been having that seat?
I've had that seat for less than a year.
Less than a year?
Yeah.
So how's that, what has that done for your life?
It feels pretty powerful and impactful. It makes me feel like just anybody in the community could walk up and, have this position if they have this passion for the community. So it makes me feel like, one, I'm giving back, and two, that I'm so close that I'm not far away and I'm in a powerful position, but I can still be close enough where I could feel and hear people.
Have you seen the change?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Give us an example.
So I utilize the parks a lot. I run the parks. Run along the parks. Utilize the basketball courts, the field houses, and other things like that. I've seen the park just usage increase over time. So it's like where Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's something going on. It's a football game. We got the marathons going through. There's just so much more public engagement, and you can feel it in the air where people are just enjoying the space a lot more. We recently got the gravel, like the pathways redone. So at first they were like bumpy, crumpy, you know, just the worst of the worst. But now we've got them freshly paved. So now as we're running along this path, it's so much smoother, and it's just like a plus for everybody. Everybody's been enjoying it.
Did you see yourself doing this kind of work, let's say a year ago? Because you just started maybe half a year ago, right?
Yeah.
So did you see yourself doing this kind of work a year ago?
I didn't see myself doing this type of work, but I knew it just fulfilled me in the way that I was like, I'm not getting paid and I'm feeling good. Like, what's going on? What's really going on? Give me some more of this. But it's been really impactful in that way. And if I could speak just to the intergenerations of my family, I saw my grandfather like clean the streets every morning. And I'd be like, why is he out there cleaning the street? Like, could somebody else do it? Like, he's cleaning the street for the entire block. Cleaning out the gutters, making sure they don't get over flooded or overcrowded or anything like that. Picking up trash out of his neighbor's yard, stuff like that. Making sure the block looks good. So I guess my mother saw him do that, and then she took it a step further. And then next thing you know, she's throwing block club parties and back to school events on that same block. So I'm seeing all of this growing up, and I never thought that I could be doing it. But when I started doing, like, it was like the back of my hand, second nature. Like, I've been around it my whole life. Community.
Well, it sounds like it's in your blood.
Oh yeah, probably that too.
It sounds like it's definitely in your blood to help.
Yeah.
Have you always been this way to help?
I've always been a very helpful person. Like, to see other people have a good time is like a good time for me.
So tell me a little bit more about you. Let's say your childhood. What does that look like?
I had a great childhood. You know, I'm not a millennial, so I was outside. So after school, I'm running outside. I'm having a good time. I had the privilege of actually having to connect and speak to people in a way where you had to build those relationships and foster those interpersonal connections at a young age before you even knew what those things were as an adult. So I'm happy and grateful that I was able to get outside, be around, be connected to people, be active, and just not be so shuttered in. Although the access to information right now is amazing, back then, you know, I had my head in the book. So I might disappear for a few days, come back out with, you know, a pocket full of knowledge. But I've always been an avid reader. I'm like 50% play, 50% in the books.
Awesome. So can you tell me about a memorable time in that neighborhood that you live in? Because you still live in a neighborhood, correct?
Yes, I do.
Any memorable times that you could think about how great your neighborhood is?
I have to throw it back to a block club party where it's like, I come from a big family, so most of us stayed on that same block. So we had a block club party. It was a block club party. You know what I'm saying? So we had barbecue, we had entertainers, we had singers, dancers. I think that'd be my biggest takeaway growing up. Just always having fun at the block club parties. They felt like a family reunion every time we had it.
Awesome. So what motivates you to continue this work? Since you didn't see yourself doing it a year ago, half a year back now, you started doing it. What motivates you to continue to do it?
I think seeing the changes firsthand, just knowing since I've been here my entire life and just seeing changes that I've made since I've been in this position, and then speaking to my grandfather and people in the community who maybe been here, you know, longer than me, and just speaking to the changes that they've seen. And it's just like, it's a 360 moment where it's just like, okay, I'm exactly where I need to be, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. So I think that's one of the things that kind of motivates me to keep it going. Like, I can't wait to see what's next.
So you said there was a change. So from back in the day, there was a change till now. What is that change? What do you see? What does the community need? Because what do you see now?
I see more access to resources. I see more options. And it's crazy because sometimes things get taken away, and then that's how that scope gets put on it, where you're like, oh, we actually don't have a lot of these around. So we had a grocery store that closed down, and then once that grocery store closed down, we actually realized, like, oh, wow, that was like one of the only grocery stores that we pretty much had. So just seeing things like that and being able to set up programs where we can have these grocer initiatives where we come in and we like bus people to these places because we know that there's like a disaccess.
So you're saying there's things are missing.
Oh,
so
the changes, right? Yeah, just so to keep speaking to the changes, it's like we've always been the type of people to just try to make the best of everything we have. So I've never been the type of person to just look at things like, oh, this is so bad here, this is so bad there. But I've always been the type of person to see how I can make a situation or a place better than how I found it.
Okay. So I was really talking about a different change.
Uh-oh.
Oh. So as a kid, you had a great neighborhood. Something changed in the middle of it, and now you're trying to get back to that great neighborhood. It's from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I think the sense of community and just that neighborly. I knew my neighbors back then. We knew each other by first name. If I was outside and I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, there's a good chance somebody in that neighborhood saw me and either like corrected me or they went back and told on me. It was no getting around it. So it was just a different respect in the air. Everybody was kind of nice, respectful, and they kind of had a air about them where it was like we cared about each other more. Now it seems like there's more of a disconnect, maybe because we're on our phones more, we're not actually engaging with each other as much, but it just seems like there's a bit of a disconnect as far as community is concerned, as far as us actually being neighbors and doing things together and advocating for things that'll be better for both of us.
And how are you trying to change that?
One person at a time. So by each person that walks in that park, that's an opportunity to change somebody. Each program that we offer, and then they find out about it organically, that's another chance to meet someone and try to change their perspective to say, oh, it's right here at the park, right down the street. I could walk here if I needed to, and it's always been here. Let me try to utilize this more, and let me tell somebody else about it too.
Have you seen any victories? Like, have you experienced any victories in the position that you're in that you could see that it's working?
If I could just speak to the power of the people and just advocating like change, once we all group together and we have our deliverables and what we actually want, I can speak to that and I say, yes, that's a huge victory in and of itself. When you can get a group of people to come together and decide on something and say, hey, let's make this better. We all have our faults. We all have other issues we're trying to deal with, but we're all separately trying to come together to fix this one thing. I think that'll be the biggest takeaway from it.
Okay, so I want to get back to the neighborhood, because it sounds like if you're busing people out or helping people get to groceries, to get groceries, is it called the desert?
Yes, it's definitely called the food desert. And back to the health and wellness, because of those food deserts, we don't have access sometimes to fruits, vegetables, healthy food, healthier food choices and things of that nature. So we have a million, corner stores where we might eat chips and pickles and other things like junk food for breakfast or throughout the day because it's something that's close and it's accessible. So I can just go to the store and get this and not have to worry about too much and spend $2 or $3. Of course, I'll do it every day. But if I have to go to the grocery store and I have to get these healthier items and it's harder to get to, and I might not have a car and it's a little harder to access and it's a little bit more expensive because it's not in the area and it's not in the community, I might as well just keep going to the corner store and just get these chips. So it's definitely an ease of convenience, but it's definitely one of those changes that I'm looking to make. When a lot of people hear about out west, they just have this negative connotation about it, and I think that can scare businesses away from actually thriving here. Like, I live in a community where there's no Starbucks, there's no a lot of regular things that people have access to maybe downtown. They're out of our community. We have to travel outside of the community to get to those things. The closest Chase Bank might be 5 miles outside of the community.
So even banks are not...
Even banks, the area is so disenfranchised, and I think part of that is to blame because of the media. And like I said, that perception of the West Side is like, we can scare the businesses away instead of saying, hey, come here, take a chance, and actually see, what you can do and see what the community can do for you too. Wow.
Well, it sounds like there's a change to be made on the West Side over there.
Changes, yes, sir, plural.
And you're gonna.
I'm gonna let you know all about it.
You're definitely gonna be working on there.
Yeah,
huh?
Absolutely. I hope to lead the cause. There are definitely a lot of other groups on the West Side doing the work. I'm happy to partner with them. I'm happy to share the spotlight and to work with them. But we're all like pretty much working towards the same goal: health and wellness out west, and just extending that life expectancy gaps is among other things from our community compared to others.
So you mentioned earlier too. Wow. Okay. Is there like an east side and a west side?
Of Garfield Park?
Oh, Garfield Park, yes.
Yeah, it is. There is.
What's the difference?
I mean, just how you look at it, the east side would be closer to the city, and then the west side would be, further west. But as far as I know, east and west Garfield Park, it's all Garfield Park.
Because that's what I'm hearing. It's just Garfield Park, but people are dividing it for whatever reasons.
Yeah,
they're dividing it.
Chicago is a pretty divided city in itself, so it's not surprising to say we have an east and a west Garfield Park. Although I'm so west side, I love the west side of Garfield Park. You know what I mean? No disrespect to the east side, but yeah, I'm a west Garfield Park guy. But I think it's just one of those things. I don't think it's something that's put there intentionally to be divisive, but it's just geography. This is the west side, this is the east side.
Okay. So I know on the south side, Father Flager on the south side has brought in like a Walgreens, and he's brought in the supermarkets and whatnot. Can they do the same thing on the west side of Chicago? Are there any talks about bringing a Jewel or farmer's market or any kind of grocery store or more businesses? Are any talks being made right now?
Absolutely. So there's this collaborative called the Right to Wellness Collaborative that's actually spearheading most of that. And like I said before, we're still in the community engagement phase. So we're actually out asking the residents like, hey, the Aldi's is gone. The store that was once here is no longer. These are kind of like the things we have on the table, the investors that are coming in to say, hey, these people might be here. So now we have an opportunity to let the community know like, hey, it's nothing here now, but we have these options available. So now we have to go through the process of, now we have to vote, and now we have to go back and we have to say what works with this one and what doesn't work with this one. And it's a longer process now than them just making the decision and dumping it on us. Mm-hmm. But it's gonna be so much more heartfelt when we finally get it and we finally come together and make a decision, because then it's like I can look back and say, oh, I remember when I was at that meeting and I said I didn't want this, and now it's not here, and we have this. So you're gonna feel that pride that you have a voice in your community, and what you says matters, and what you need is heard.
Okay. So at the same time, are you guys talking with the alderman? Is the alderman involved?
Yeah. So we have like weekly and monthly meetings between the alderman and a couple of other agencies through the Park District. And at those times, we always discuss public safety, health and wellness, and just recently, just all the new developments that'll be coming to West Garfield Park within the few coming years. So all of those talks are definitely on the table, which is why I'm always excited when I get to speak about all of the changes and stuff that I get to see personally, because this isn't the West Side that I've seen in my life, and I really can't imagine what it's going to look like within the next few years, and that's kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit about you. So you grew up in the Garfield Park, right?
Yep.
With your mom. So a little bit about yourself. You grew up with your mom and pops in Garfield Park, correct?
Yes, sir. So I come from a multi-generational home. My grandfather had a family building, and he himself had like 16 other, more than that, siblings. So we all pretty much utilized this building. And when it was time for my mom to have kids, and she had my older brothers and sisters, and then she had me, we also lived in this building too. So just imagine a 3-flat, intergenerational, got grandma on the top floor, you and mom on the second, maybe a close cousin or aunt on the first floor. Got some other family maybe chilling in the basement, but pretty much up and down, like you have a house full of family. And then not even that, if you go outside and you go 2 doors down, that's an auntie's house. And you go across the street, that's an uncle's house. So being able to walk around a community and just feeling like I had a connection to everything made it feel that much more like, oh yeah, this is my space. This is my hood. Like this is where I belong. This is mine. Everything belongs to me and my family. So I had a real different upbringing than a lot of other people would, because I had a bit of pride just about my space and my family and my community.
How did that look like, having your whole entire family on the same block, not alone the same building, but on the same block? How did you grow up with your cousins and your uncles and your aunts being around you all the time?
Well, as you can imagine, we all grew up super close, and it was like World War III, if you can imagine it, because if I got into it outside, or if anybody in my family was into any type of trouble outside, like you make one holler down the street, and then the whole house full of people is coming out this house, and you like, hold on, wait a minute, I wasn't ready to fight the world, you know what I mean? So I grew up feeling very protected, very safe, and I think I had a great experience. I had a lot of cousins that were my age, so we were all out getting into trouble together. So we had a great childhood. I had a great childhood. Mm-hmm. Some things I can't say, but I had a great childhood.
You mentioned your grandfather.
Yeah, I kind of modeled my life after him. So he kind of put me in the church. Like I said before, I saw him out in the streets doing the community work. One of the first men I ever seen cry in my life. So that stuck with me like to this day still. So I definitely try to model myself after him. He definitely did a hell of a great job raising me.
So who was your grandfather? Who was his man? What's his name?
Oh, so my grandfather's name is John Barnes. That's a great question. John Wesley Barnes. And like I said, he was the middle child of maybe 32. You have to call my auntie for that one. She's like the historian of the family. But super big family, split between here in Memphis and Mississippi as well. He came here. He got the family building. He's a super hard worker. Family first always. He pretty much instilled it in you. Like, you don't do anything without family. You go outside, you look over your shoulder, you make sure your brother's good, your sister good, your cousin good, your aunt's good. You go to the party, you make sure the elders are taken care of. Like, he pretty much just taught me so many principles and just how to be a man in general. So I always just modeled myself after him.
That's awesome. And your mom and your pops?
Mom and my pops hard workers too. So most of my life, so I spent a lot of time with them because honestly they worked. So a lot of my time I didn't get to spend with them as much because they were working and providing and everything else. But that's why I had spent so much time with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm. So you went to school. What school did you go to on the west side?
I went to Kipperson Charter School after like 3 years of going to the neighborhood school, which is also like two doors down on the same block. So imagine like having a neighborhood school and half of your neighborhood is on the block going to this school. My mom was like, yeah, no way, you're going to a different school. You're going to be in trouble every day because half of your family's in your class. So she sent me to a charter school. I was the only one in this charter school. The charter school, we had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we were there till 5 o'clock at night. So when I was telling you about my head being in those books, that's part of the reason why. But it gave me a separation. Like, I was able to see like, everybody in the neighborhood's like having a good time. Like, yeah, we have fun outside, but I'm like, nobody's really like into academia or just really into book reading or really just trying to be studious. Or I didn't have a lot of those conversations until she switched me to that school. Mm-hmm. So from that charter school, I left my neighborhood school, went to that charter school, and then after that, I went to Whitney Young.
Oh, Whitney Young.
Got to throw Whitney Young in there every chance I get.
Yeah. How was high school for you?
High school was great and amazing. I found a West Side community at Whitney Young that we really embraced each other, and we uphold those same values that we had growing up from our families. We had that at school, so I felt like I had a place where I belonged, and it was just a great place to be.
That's awesome. So, what's motivating you now, right now, as of today, to pursue what you're pursuing in the neighborhood?
I spoke before about the change, just to see people in generations younger than me, just to see what they get to envision or what they get to play with or what they get to see once they walk down their street. Because like I said, I walked around, I never looked at the West Side or my community with a negative eye. I've always looked at it like this is a beautiful place. We should always protect this place and we should really champion it. So I'm hoping and I wish for the younger generations to also see the beauty in their neighborhoods, regardless of the violence or any of the day-to-day things that we might not want to shine light on every day, that they can overlook those things and overcome those things and just enjoy the beauty of the neighborhood itself.
So what are your next steps for your life?
I'm running for mayor of out West.
The mayor out West?
The mayor of out West.
What is that? What does that pertain?
So, out West could be considered its own city. No, I'm just playing. But hopefully just being more active in my community. So I don't want to say I want to be known or like a big name in the health and wellness field in my community, but I do want to get out there and I do want to do more and I don't want to stop. And I feel like it's a good time right now where I can get a lot more people involved.
Awesome. So if you give me some words of wisdom or somebody watching this right now, what would some words of wisdom be for them?
Some words of wisdom I can impart. Always go with your first mind and never be afraid to pat yourself on the back and keep going. Like, even when nobody else is clapping for you, you may think nobody's recognizing what you have going on. Just be prepared to pat yourself on the back, give yourself a little grace every day, and just keep moving forward. Somebody's watching, even if it doesn't seem like it. Somebody's always paying attention, but as long as you carry yourself in a way, like you can't go wrong.
Awesome. And a memorable quote.
Don't stop, get it, get it. I go. I don't want to do that either. I was gonna say, never stop, never settle. You know, that's a Hennessy one. I could go with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good John. I like that.
Okay.
And never stop, never settle for nothing in this world. Never get complacent. Never sit still. Always keep moving forward.
Awesome. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, I think I'll go with flight. I just like to fly. Yeah. And if I can't fly, like instant teleportation, like Goku style. Rest in peace to Kira Toriyama, by the way. And just, yeah, for sure, instant teleportation. Just to be anywhere in an instant, like I'd definitely be on the beach right now.
That's what you use it for?
Yeah, I'll go to the beach like at all times. Like anytime it's stressful, like, oh, I'm at the beach. Like, oh, where you at, bro? I'm at the beach. Like, oh, you was just here? I'm at the beach now. Like, and that's it. Instant teleportation. And because, like, I feel like there's always so many things going on, and I'm trying, if I can escape the traffic, yeah, instant teleportation. Oh, and I don't have to pay for gas? Yeah, it's sold. I'm sold on it.
So, Derion Barnes, I want to thank you for coming down to the Community Leaders Podcast. Thank you for being here.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. I've been having a great time. I hope I've been received and heard well. It's new for me. It's my first podcast, so I'm definitely excited. I appreciate you having me here as well.
Awesome.